She's smart and sassy, but most of all, she's got big boobs.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Rev Mel Show. It is a kink broadcasting. Don't you love that? We're kink broadcasters.
Nice.
I like that. I like kinky.
It's good to be kinky.
Kinky's good.
It is good. So, what is... I'm going to go with Meow. What is the first thing you learned in BDSM?
I'm supposed to remember that? Like, that was so long ago. Safe, sane, and consensual.
Safe
words.
What does safe, sane, and consensual mean to you?
What it is. Safe, sane, and consensual. Consensual, obviously, what two people agree on or what you agree on. Sane, you can kind of go a little in with that one. Safe being safe as in not deliberately trying to physically or mentally, intentionally harm somebody what they don't want. And safe words is, well, you can go with safe words.
I can go with safe
words? Yep, you can explain safe words.
What is safe words, Boogie?
Safe words are a word. Traditionally, what I always knew a safe word was pretty much what a safe word is a word that is not necessarily a sexual word that can be used while you're playing with somebody that means stop. So like when you're in role play and it's like, no, don't, no. That's not a safe word.
You mean ouch is not a safe word?
Ouch is not a safe word. More is not a safe word. Fuck me harder is definitely, it's a fun word, but it's not a safe phrase. But no, so you would pick like at the club, at the lair, we have red, which means literally stop. That means stop. That doesn't mean maybe stop. It means that the submissive or one of the persons that is playing, the dominant or the submissive, wants this to end now. And that means drop your toy and you stop. So a safe word is very important, especially if you're new.
Well, it could be the action too, not necessarily the whole.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can once a safe word is called, you obviously drop your dominant, so you drop your toy, and then you would talk with your submissive and say what was the problem, what happened, and then if you choose to start again, you negotiate that we are now going to start again, and then the safe word applies again.
So what if I was a submissive? Yeah, and and I was getting spanked, and I got through this threshold, and I needed to work out the pain. What would I cry out with that? Would I use a safe word there?
Well, I mean, there's like once again, you're I know what you're leading towards. There are different types of safe words. There is your ultimate safe word, which like at the lair would be red, and I use it in my personal life, would be red. If you need time to process something, like, wow, I just need to back off, you can have a secondary safe word, which at the lair would be yellow.
It's like a caution.
Yeah, so I know some people, they'll have two safe words, and one is the absolute, and then one is the, hey, I need some time, or there's a medical issue, or you're cramping, or the rope's making you numb, or whatever.
Some people don't have safe words.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I cried out, danger, danger, Will Rogers, would
that could be your safe word.
Would that be my pause, danger, danger?
Well,
my caution?
At least we would know to tie you the fuck up, so I would never have to say that. Yeah, a safe word is something that both people agree on before you start danger. Because I could see it would be a role play.
Yeah, it would be,
you
definitely.
You want to be the robot, don't you?
Yeah. So Boogie, what was one of the first things you learned in BDSM?
When I started actually going to the clubs and lifestyle, I think the first thing that I learned was, actually it was funny because it was an awareness that happened watching Colin Sir play.
Oh, yeah.
And the first thing I learned is I am not in a hurry. That I am not here to be super dom in a month. I am not here to play at the same level of intensity that other doms play just because they've been here or they look cool or they have a certain talent or whatever. I really learned that I am here on my own journey and I want to enjoy every little increment of that journey, and by doing so I'm able to learn responsibly and enjoy the actual process instead of trying to just jack off my ego.
And what does negotiating mean to you?
To me?
Yes.
Like looking at eye
Yeah,
contact.
like you're
we're gonna be
pointing
going
at
over to
kind of
Crissy.
all of us.
It really depends on what type of play it is. If it's like you met somebody at the club and you're going to do a little play, like I would never do a full wild scene with somebody that I, just met briefly. That would be something where you would negotiate. Okay, I'm going to spank you. I'm going to do this and that. You're going to keep it there. Then there's more of an ongoing negotiation where, like, this is like my life is negotiation. It's probably in my top 2 things that I actually enjoy about playing, which is I want feedback and understanding. When we do play, what did you experience? What was that like for you? What was the emotional? What was the spiritual? Those types of things. And as you build relationships with people, that negotiation becomes perpetual. And you negotiate everything that you do, and not just your play, but more of your emotional connection with that person as well.
Mm-hmm. We've had some little submissives that have been on the show, and we have spanked them, and we've spanked them on the air, and we've done other things to them. And sometimes we did not really stress to the audience that what we did is we negotiated this, that we negotiated with the submissive. And so that's, negotiation is a very, very important key to learn. Yes, Lars?
Dagger is wondering what all of the guest thoughts are on new people playing with new people. Should they, the very first time that they play with other new people or play with experienced players?
Let's go with Crissy. What do you think?
It's to me, it's a little bit about safety, and I think that being with someone who isn't experienced is a little bit fearful to me. So playing with someone with some experience has made it very comfortable for me to develop, and to develop my confidence and techniques or whatever. So, the one person that I really play with on a regular basis has been gracious and been able to talk to me through a lot of things and a lot of feelings and things that come up, and it's been very secure. And I think that's what's kept me sort of, developing and sticking with it. Just having someone who was experienced and who was safe and consensual and respectful, I think, more than anything. So, yeah.
Meow, answer that question.
What was the question? Sorry.
What do you think about new people playing with new people?
Oh, okay. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a great thing. It really depends. It depends on the person, too. It depends on how you know yourself, how well you communicate. People who don't really communicate very well, that can be just as harsh on somebody that's experienced as if somebody's new. If you can't communicate what you're wanting or needing or what's going on, that can be a real issue. So I don't necessarily think that it's bad. Everybody has to start somewhere, and I don't really necessarily think it's bad. I think if you're safe and you communicate, I don't really see a problem with it. And this goes to what's considered new,
Yeah, what is considered new? But, Boogie, you want to answer the question that Dagger
I
asked?
actually thought Meow was very articulate in her answer. And I would not suggest new people playing with new people and trying, like, fucking knife and
Take it slow.
it really comes down to it comes down to the level of maturity that people have. When I first started, obviously most people are in the vanilla world and they're just trying shit, and they're like, oh, and it's a spanking or it's a little bit of bondage or something like that. And if you do a little bit of research and you check, some safety issues or less dangerous issue, I don't believe that there's.
And also, if two new people are starting, a lot of the times you can get feedback from people that are experienced, or if they are playing, you can come up to them afterwards and be like, whoa, dude, that was like really seriously unsafe, and so they'll learn, and I don't necessarily
I think initially, too, I didn't quite know what to ask. So to have someone who did have some experience for me was great, just to be able to, he was able to push me and make me pick my own brain about how I felt about certain things that I was witnessing. And so that, to my, to my experience, this seemed to be very much more of a safer thing. I mean, it's not nearly as shocking today as it was.
And just because they're experienced doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're doing.
This is true. This is true. And and I think that you listen to your inner compass no matter what. And as long as you don't abandon your own sensibilities, then you're going to be fine.
Well, there's a lot of people that come into the lifestyle that they are both new. They're like maybe a husband and wife or a boyfriend and girlfriend. Neither one of them have ever played before. And then they come into the lifestyle. And the best advice that I can give them is to observe, sit, watch, ask questions, go to all of the insights or any place where you can get education as far as fire play, knife play, bondage, how to use a flogger. That's a very important thing. I mean, flogging, you can do damage if you don't know how to use it. Right. So, Boogie, the first time you ever used a flogger, I mean, tell me the experience. I'll tell you what I did when I first used a flogger.
I think he just jizzed his pants.
I did. That's great.
I took a flogger. I took a pair of old leather pants and I made myself a flogger, a really cool flogger. I still have it. It's my favorite flogger to use, and I flogged on a pillow.
Nice.
And that's how I learned how to flog. So tell me how you learned how to flog.
Flogging. I mean, once I came. I would spank women I dated for years with various implements, remote controls, whatever. You don't know.
Remote controls.
But flogging was the same thing. I'm all, hey, baby, break it. Sorry, it's a good memory, actually.
He's like, I'm sorry, was that? Okay, I'm back now.
Break.
I'm back now.
Because it was fucking hot. That was a long time ago. What was the question again? Flogger. I love flogger. Once again, it came down to that same thing. It was when I arrived and I saw these new toys and things that people were doing and my eyes opened. Flogging was one of the things that I thought was just the prettiest. So I watched, just like you said, I watched a lot of people play and how they turn, and as a musician, you understand it's all rhythms and things like that, and sure enough, that's what I did. I had already made a little flogger, and like years ago out of duct tape and twine. And
duct tape and twine.
It's actually quite. Now that you know, you're all, hey, that's pretty stingy. But yeah, same kind of thing. I'd set up chairs and I practiced the figure 8 because I talked to some people and then they were able to say, okay, you want to avoid the spine, you don't want to wrap because that's unless you're intending on doing that. Stay away from the kidneys. Certain areas. And then, you just practice. And then once you actually use it on a human and they respond and they just, bam, and they're gone. And yeah, that's the... I'm here forever! I'm here! I took the time. I learned! I didn't rap.
You took the time and you learned.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that come into the lifestyle, they are so anxious. They are so excited at the fact that they're at a dungeon. They're actually seeing nude bodies. They're actually seeing all these cool things being done. And they don't take the time to learn. Sit back. If you're a new person, sit back. Watch. And like I said earlier, observe. Learn how to use that toy.
Sure.
Or that tool, because it's really important, because we can create a tremendous amount of damage to someone.
It's just like learning a dance. If you see somebody do a dance and you're like, oh, I can do that. Okay, maybe not. You need to take it step by step.
You just end up humiliating yourself.
Somebody just called and they're actually wondering what the difference is, or what you guys think the difference is between a dominant and a master. Why don't you guys discuss some of the different terms?
Agree on that.
Huh?
Why don't you guys discuss some of the different terms between, top, master,
but it's different
dominant,
to everybody too,
and that's why these are your own personal opinions. And that was Master Lindsay that asked that.
I can go.
Let Mad'em Crissy let Mad'em Crissy go.
Been all quiet.
Well,
and there's no wrong answer to
right,
this.
there isn't. And I'll be delicate in the way that I phrase it, because I've been, since I am a switch, I do kind of get approached from both sides, I do. Like I said, I'm never bored. My dance card is always usually full, but it mainly just in conversation and learning, and I've sat in respect of